cintamu dalam imanmu, jangan halangkan nasibmu. Bangkitlah hai bangsaku, usapkan hati wahai tanah airku. Cintamu dalam imanmu, jangan halangkan nasibmu. Bangkitlah hai bangsaku. Indonesia negeriku, engkau panji martabatku. Siapa datang mengancammu, kan binasa di bawah tulimu. Siapa datang mengancammu, kan binasa di bawah tulimu.
Please kindly be seated. Thank you very much. The Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the following agenda is reciting Salawat Nuril Anwar together. Sallu ala Nabi Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Nuril Anwar wasiril asrari yakil aghyar wa miftahi babil yasari sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadinil muhtar wa alihi al-adhari wa ashabihi al-akhyar adada ni'amillahi wa ifdali adada ni'amillahi wa ifdali. Ladies and gentlemen, continuing to the first speech by the chairman of the third ICOMSH 2023. At your convenience, Professor Junaidi Mistar, PhD.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad, amma ba'd. The Honorable Rector of Universitas Islam Malang, Unisma, Bapak Profesor Dr. Haji Maskuri MSI, the respectable Vice Rectors, Deans, Vice Deans, Heads of Departments at Unisma, the respectable plenary speakers, parallel speakers, and participants, the dear students of Unisma who joined this conference, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let's bow our head to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Almighty, who has granted us with His blessing and mercy so that we can now get together to join this prestigious international conference, either on site or online. Secondly, salawat and salam should go to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has guided us with ad-dinul Islam. Ladies and gentlemen, This year's International Conference on Multidisciplinary Sciences for Humanity, ICOMSH, is the third one carried out by Unisma, as the first one was held in 2021 and the second one was held in 2022. This conference is held in order to create a forum for academicians, professionals, and researchers to share their knowledge and expertise and to present their research findings related to their field of study. For this third conference, the topics are specified for social sciences, including teacher training and education, Islamic studies and religious education, administrative sciences, economics and business, law, and any other branches of social studies. I'm very happy to let you know that there are 42 selected papers to be presented in this year's ICOMSH conference, with the presenters coming from 8 countries, including Indonesia, Australia, South Korea, Malaysia, Turkey, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, then on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank the rector of Unisma, who has provided us with everything we need to succeed this academic event. I would also like to express my high gratitude and appreciation to 1. Det Bao PhD from Monash University, Australia, 2. Professor Ji Xiong Jian, PhD, the Director of Institute for Southeast Asian Studies, Jeonbuk National University, South Korea, and 3. Associate Professor Nur Hafiza Haji Muhammad Haris, the Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Studies, University Technology Mara, Malaysia. They are the speakers for the plenary sessions, the morning sessions. We would also have some other speakers in the afternoon plenary sessions. The sharing of your knowledge and expertise is very much appreciated. I would also like to thank the parallel speakers coming from all over Indonesia and abroad. Your contributions must also be of great significance for the development of humanity. Last but not least, I would like to thank the committee who have been trying hard days and nights to prepare everything for the success of the conference. Finally, I do hope that this conference be an academic forum for developing our professionalisms in our own field of study. I wish you all the best and enjoy the conference. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Please kindly give the round of applause. Yeah, tepuk tangannya kurang meriah ya. Well, thank you very much for the speech from the chairman of ICOMSH 2023, Professor Junaidi. Ladies and gentlemen, the following agenda is the opening remarks of the third ICOMSH 2023 by the Rector of Universitas Islam Malang. Please welcome Professor Mashkuri, MSI.
Assalamualaikum wabarakatuh. Good morning. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa syukurulillah, ala nikmatillah, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in, amma ba'du. Respectable our keynote speakers of the third International Conference on Multidisciplinary Science for Humanity, Unisma Malang 2023. Respectable Vice Rectors, Deans, Administrators, Faculty Members, Researchers, and Students, all national and international participants and presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Universitas Islam Malang, we want to welcome our keynote speakers, presenters, and participants, especially our 9 keynote speakers from Indonesia, Australia, South Korea, Malaysia, Turkey, Russia, Uzbekistan, and Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, Universitas Islam Malang is developing our international cooperation very actively. Now we are at the milestone of an entrepreneurial university. In the year 2027, we are entering a world-class university milestone. Our student, alumni, and partners are coming from 41 countries and 38 provinces across Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, Universitas Islam Malang has received national accreditation as an excellent university. We also have received international accreditation from ASEAN and VBA Germany for our 7 study program. This is in line with our motto, Universitas Islam Malang for Nahdlatul Ulama for Indonesia and for the world civilization. Ladies and gentlemen, this third ICOMSH 2023 is very important for all of us to share research finding and state of the art in education, administrative science, Islamic education, economics and business, law and social science. Ladies and gentlemen, the multidisciplinary sciences role in today's world is crucial. By integrating knowledge and methodologies, we can foster collaboration and innovation for significant development in several fields. The importance of multidisciplinary sciences is their ability to tackle complex problems that cannot be solved by a single discipline. Ladies and gentlemen, many of the issues we face, such as climate change, public health problems, and sustainable development, need a holistic approach that consider social, economic, environmental, and technological factors. Multidisciplinary sciences enable experts from different fields to come together, share their expertise, and develop comprehensive solutions for a more sustainable and prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Universitas Islam Malang, again, we appreciate the participation of our keynote speakers. We also appreciate the organizing committee which has prepared and organized this thus ICOMSH 2023 successfully. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can participate in all the program and benefit from them. By saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially open this third international conference on disciplinary science for humanity, ICOMSH, Unisma Malang 2023. Thank you very much. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the opening by the Rector of Universitas Islam Malang. Well, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is a prayer led by the Vice Rector of Students, Alumni, and Religious Affairs, Dr. Badat Muwahid MP. Time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala rasul asrafil mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain amma. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma shalli ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Hamdan yafi ni'amahu wa yakafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa adhim mustalik. Allahumma rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Allahumma la tad'alana fi majlisina hadza dhanban illa ghafarta wa la hamman illa farajta wa la aiban illa satarta wa la usran illa yasarta wa la jahlan illa 'allamta wa la dhalan illa hadaita wa la hajatan illa laka min khawaitin wa la khairin illa qadaitaha. Rabbana hab lana min azwajina wa dhurriyyatina qurratal a'yun waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have now reached the moment for group photo session. Please kindly the rectors and also all the vice rectors to please take positions here for the capture. And Mas Mansur, could you please take a picture from the stage? And Bapak Ibu, seluruh hadirin, ladies and gentlemen, in this room, please kindly be standing because we will have a group photo session with the rectors and also all vice rectors. Silakan Bapak Ibu bisa berdiri. Berdiri semua Bapak Ibu. Oke, kamera is ready. 1, 2, 3. Bapak Ibu bisa juga melambaikan tangan. Mengepalkan tangan juga boleh. Di depan dada, oke. Okay, thank you very much. Once again, Bapak Ibu, please kindly give the round of applause for the opening ceremony. Has gone very smooth. And well, thank you very much for the rectors and also all vice rectors who have supported this opening ceremony. Well, the excellencies, distinguished speakers, presenters, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished the opening ceremony of the ICOMSH 2023. And of course, without further delay, we are now continuing our meeting to the next agenda, which is hearing together the keynote speech session. As I have informed you at the beginning of the opening ceremony that there will be 4 keynote speakers for this session. The first one is Datbau PhD from Monash University, Australia. Professor Jisung John, PhD, Director of Institute for Southeast Asian Studies, John Book National University, South Korea. Associate Professor Dr. Nur Hafizah Hajah Mohammed Harith, the Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Studies, University Technology, Mara, Malaysia. And the last speaker is Professor Dr. Haji Mashkuri MSc, and we know together that he is the rector of Universitas Islam Malang, Indonesia. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this plenary session will be moderated by the Dr. Candidate Noni Mia, and I would like to invite her to guide the presentation. Okay, for Dr. Candidate Noni Mia, the floor is yours. Kindly give applause, Bapak Ibu, and enjoy the plenary session.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to our distinguished speakers who are already with us in this first plenary session of the third ICOMSH, Datbau PhD from Monash University, Australia, Professor Ji Song John PhD from Jeonbuk National University, South Korea, and Associate Professor Dr. Nur Hafizah Hajah Muhammad Harith from University Technology Malaysia. Dear presenters and participants, today we have amazing speakers who are going to share their insights with us. But before we start with our first speaker, allow me to tell you the rules for our discussion today. So we're going to have around 30 minutes presentation from our speakers from each speakers, and around 10 minutes question and answer session. And if the participants, all of you have any question, you may type your questions in the chat box. I will read them from the first question. Or if you want to give your questions directly, you can click the raise hand icon in your Zoom, and I will select some participants to give their questions. Now we will start our first session for today with our first speaker. So our first speaker is very proficient with studies on politics in Southeast Asia, especially in our country, Indonesia. Right now, he serves as Director of Institute for Southeast Asia Studies in Jeonbuk National University, South Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Professor Ji Song John. 안녕하십니까, 교수님? Professor?
Ya, selamat pagi.
Oh,
Can you hear
selamat pagi.
me?
Yes,
Yeah.
very clearly.
Ya,
How
saya
are you
pertama
today?
ya, bukan kedua ya.
Because our first speaker has not joined in the Zoom yet, so
Okay,
we invite you to be our first speaker, Professor. Is it okay?
Ya, ya. Terima kasih banyak inviting me to your honorable conference, and then selamat ulang tahun Unisma. Bagaimana bisa sharingnya? Saya coba sharing.
Professor.
Bisa kelihatan
Bisa.
lihat
Yes.
PowerPoint saya?
Yes, sangat jelas,
Oke.
Professor. Yes.
Oke. Ya, mulai ya.
Ya, silakan.
Oke. Bentar ya. Oh yeah, like this. Over the past half century, cooperation between Korea and Indonesia has been actively pursued in all fields from diplomacy to culture, and has produced many achievements. It has already been said that the bilateral relationship between two countries entered a golden age, era emas, hubungan Indonesia-Korea, like my book 10 years ago. And even after that, the friendly relationship between the two countries has gotten better and closer. I hope that the very close friendship of both countries, means Indonesia and Korea, can contribute not only to the advancement of the interests of the two countries only, but also to our region and the world. In my speech today, academic exchange and democratic solidarity are proposed as two wings that advance the solidarity between Indonesia and Korea for our region and the world. These two terms were rarely mentioned in various events to commemorate 50 years of diplomatic relations of both countries in this year. Pertama, academic exchange. The Korean government and society want to play a positive role at a regional and global level. Korean government use terms global pivotal state. If these wishes are sincere, the Korean side should closely consult and cooperate with the Indonesian side. This is because Indonesia is not only a large country in terms of size and population, but also a key country with great international influence in terms of diplomatic capabilities. Indonesia has a wonderful and effective diplomatic principle of independent and active, or bebas dan aktif, and always practices it. So Korean diplomacy has a lot to learn from Indonesia. Cooperation with Indonesia is strategically very important for the new Korean government to properly implement the Indo-Pacific strategy and the ASEAN-Korea Solidarity Initiative, simply KASI. This is because Indonesia is located at a strategic location connecting the Indian and Pacific Oceans and is a country called the natural born leader of ASEAN. Moreover, strengthening the solidarity between Korea and Indonesia is more urgent in the current situation where powerful countries such as United States and China is competing in our region. Maaf ya, sebentar ada tamu tadi ya.
Yeah, that's fine, Professor.
Indonesian side always praise Korea and want to learn from Korea. Indonesia is trying to cooperate and deliberate with Korea in order to break out of the middle income trap and enter the developed world. Something like Indonesia EMAS 2045. It is a very encouraging situation for Korean side. However, Korean government should not be satisfied with this level, and Korea should elaborate its relationship to the level where Indonesia considers Korea as a key partner for solving regional and global challenges. To do so, the Korean side should make effort to include regional and global issues as a major agenda when meeting with the Indonesian side. In order to effectively pursue the interests and needs of Indonesia and Korea, and to create solidarity between the two countries that jointly respond to transnational challenges, forums for deliberation on various levels should be arranged regularly. Not only a strategic dialogue at the diplomatic level be regularized, but academic exchange should be also be promoted in the regular and institutional way. This is because scholars' wisdom is also needed to respond to serious and diverse transitional challenges such as the US-China competition, comprehensive security threats, retreat of freedom and human rights, massive refugees, and climate change. In diplomatic terms, it is necessary to activate track to diplomacy between the two countries. Currently, the academic exchange program is not included in the KASI of Korean government. KASI means Korea-ASEAN Solidarity Initiative of the Korean government. The KASI not include the academic exchange. And this deficiency must be supplemented as soon as possible. For promoting effective academic exchange, it is necessary to have a human resource database of the academic society of both countries. We need to find out who are the experts on Indonesia in Korea, who are the experts on Korea in Indonesia, and who are the experts on the relations between the two countries. It is not a one-time use for a specific event, but it is necessary to grasp such scholarly information on a regular basis and update it periodically. Furthermore, the government and academic institutions of both countries should cooperate so that they can connect and exchange regularly. Although the friendly relationship between Korea and Indonesia is deepening day by day, the capacity for professional research on each other has not been greatly improved. Korean experts on Indonesia and Indonesian experts on Korea are in short supply compared to demand. There are only about 20 experts on Indonesia in the field of humanity and social science in Korea. The volume of Korea-related experts in Indonesia is estimated similar with Korean situation. Therefore, plans for nurturing future generation of academic cooperation both countries must be prepared and implemented. Kedua, saya mau bicara democratic solidarity. Market economy and democracy are the shared values of Korea and Indonesia and are mentioned as the factors that could create a golden age for the relationship between the two countries. The shared economic value is well recognized and often considered seriously. However, the shared political value of democracy does not seem to be sufficiently emphasized and utilized. A tangible example of democratic solidarity between Korea and Indonesia at the government level was the joint hosting of Bali Democracy Forum. When President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono held the Bali Democracy Forum, the Korean government under President Lee Myung-bak twice participated as a co-host. Unfortunately, compared to the previous period, the Bali Democracy Forum has been downgraded to a modest level in terms of scale and intensity. I hope that the two governments will discuss ways to strengthen it again. The Korean side also holds democracy forums every year. Well-known forums are the Gwangju Democracy Forum, prepared by the May 18 Foundation, and the Seoul Democracy Forum, organized by the Korea Democracy Foundation. Indonesian activists also participate in this forum every year. Therefore, the Bali, Seoul, Gwangju axis can be conceived as a network for regular meetings and deliberation channels of pro-democracy figures in Asia, including Indonesia. The National Human Rights Commission of two countries could be an important channel, and if the Indonesia Democracy Foundation is built by referring to the Korea Democracy Foundation, this foundation will be able to function as another channel. Cooperation at the political society of both countries can be advanced through exchange among various organizations involved in the political process, such as political parties, parliaments, and election commission. However, democracy is not limited to the political process, but is deeply involved in people's daily lives. Exchanges and cooperation between the police, which are the main enforcement agencies for the rule of law, human rights, and security guarantees, also need to be strengthened. Knowledge sharing for the development of universal health coverage and social security systems between Indonesia and Korea is also important. This is because democracy can be recognized for its value and have vitality when it contributes to the well-being of the people. Civil society also essential force to strengthen democratic solidarity between the two countries. Since the 1990s, Korean civil society has been carrying out the ASEAN Solidarity Movement. One of the early activities was started thanks to cooperation with Indonesian civil society. Indonesian labor NGOs raised the labor rights issues of Korean companies invested in Indonesia, and Korean civil society responded to them, which was the start of civil society cooperation between the two countries in 1990s. The solidarity between Korea and Indonesian civil society that started from labor rights issues and spread to various fields such as migrant workers' rights, environmental protection, election monitoring, and ODA monitoring over the past 30 years. Both governments should try to include civil society, which has experience of solidarity, as a diplomatic resource. Again, to use diplomatic terminology, track 3 diplomacy should be pursued. Democratic solidarity between Korea and Indonesia can contribute to advancing the rights and welfare of the people in our region and around the world. In particular, I hope that it will be effective in responding to the Myanmar crisis, a global tragedy that occurred in our region. Our democratic cooperation will be effective when it is pursued in the direction of narrowing the target and broadening solidarity. The main target is the worst regime. The worst regime is an extreme authoritarian regime that carries out state terror against its own people. Strategic thinking is needed to create solidarity among various democratic and semi-democratic countries against this extreme authoritarian regime. So I propose solidarity between democratic country and semi-democratic countries against the extreme authoritarian regime, such like Myanmar. The experience of joint response to solve the Myanmar crisis will further upgrade the level of our democratic solidarity. Beyond track 1 diplomacy, track 2 diplomacy, academic exchange means. Track 3 diplomacy, it means civil society cooperation should be strengthened. In this way, I hope that our power of solidarity between Korea and Indonesia will not only enhance the right and welfare of the people in both countries, but also contribute to benefiting our region and the world. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much, Professor John. Now, I would like to open the question and answer session for our first speaker. You can give the questions directly. If you are in the Zoom, you can click the raise hand icon. If you are here in the room, you can raise your hand, of course. Or if you want to give the questions indirectly, then you can you can type your questions in the chat box. So we have a very insightful explanations from Professor Ji Song John about how Indonesia and South Korea should cooperate in the next future. Two things that he emphasized are about academic exchange, and democratic solidarity. Questions from the audience? One interesting thing that you mentioned, Professor, is about the crisis in Myanmar. So that's because lately in our news channels, there are news related to new, immigrants? Illegal immigrants, yeah, something like that, from Rohingya, who are stranded in one of our provinces in Aceh. And it's a kind of problematic for us and especially for the people in Aceh to openly receive the people from Rohingya. So can you share your opinion with us about that, Professor?
Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya, Ibu Runia. Saya pernah melakukan riset tentang refugee di Indonesia. Kebijakan refugee Indonesia sudah berubah, bisa bicara semacam local terms. Jadi local government should be in front of refugee problem located in Barisan Depan. Jadi saya bisa usul local government cooperation with local government in other countries. We already have many cases local government cooperation between Korea and Indonesia. Misalnya Medan, ada hubungan dengan Gwangju di Korea. So, kalau local government in Indonesia menghadapi kesusahan dengan refugee issue, they can raise idea cooperation with local government in Korea, dana atau sumber daya manusia atau technical assistance. Di Korea kebanyakan local government tidak tahu apa kesusahannya dihadapi oleh local government in Indonesia, something like Aceh or Medan or Jakarta, dengan isu refugee. So it is only one idea. Then I think Indonesia has a leadership in ASEAN. So Indonesia membawa isu refugee ke tingkat ASEAN. Saya pernah baca sejarah bagaimana bisa menghadapi refugee dari Indochina tahun 70-an sampai 80-an. Indonesia berperan membawa isu Indochina refugee ke regional level and then global level, and then beres refugee Indochina issue dan masalah Indochina refugee. So in the same measure should be considered by Indonesian government and people. ASEAN has no agency cross-cutting, agency handling refugee Rohingya issue. So it is a main problem of ASEAN, which is handling the issue non-traditional security threat. So I propose building a agency, cross-cutting agency, something like AHA Center for the handling refugee issues in each countries, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Malaysia, Thailand. So it's a maybe Indonesia cannot handle the refugee issue alone. I think so.
So that's why cooperation is important, right, Professor? Because we cannot deal, especially with refugee issues alone. Okay, before we continue with the questions in the chat box, I would like to say hello to Bapak Gogot Suharwoto, Atase Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia yang ada di Korea Selatan. Selamat pagi, Bapak. Terima kasih.
Selamat pagi, Bu Noni.
Terima kasih Bapak atas kehadirannya.
Prof. John. Thank you, Samira.
Oke, kita lanjutkan ya, Prof. John. Ada pertanyaan di chat box. Dua pertanyaan, Profesor. Yang pertama adalah bidang apa saja yang menarik bagi para mahasiswa dan peneliti di Korea? Kemudian pertanyaan kedua adalah apakah ada peluang beasiswa bagi mahasiswa Indonesia untuk studi lanjut atau mungkin apakah ada program student exchange yang diberikan oleh Korea kepada mahasiswa Indonesia? Please, Professor.
Kalau bidang menarik bagi saya tentu saja politik dan diplomasi. Tapi kebanyakan itu mahasiswa Indonesia dan mahasiswa Korea apa program exchange-nya natural science and engineering. So I think so. It is still important, but bidang social science sama humanity sekarang itu tingkat exchange-nya masih kurang. Dan lebih menarik itu comparative studies Indonesia between Korea. Bagaimana misalnya Pak Jokowi bilang ada contoh Korea, model Korea untuk memajukan Indonesia developed countries. But kalau tahu dan gunakan model Korea, harus studi banding dengan Korea dan Indonesia. Pembangunan ekonomi, cara pendidikan, dan cara R&D Korea, bagaimana bisa diinvestasi di masyarakat Korea, dan sejarahnya gimana, dan apa yang bisa ambil dari contoh Korea, dan apa yang tidak cocok dengan Indonesia, itu hasil studi banding. Jadi saya usulkan bidang social science dan di bidang humanity, studi banding Indonesia dan Korea. Kedua, apakah ada peluang beasiswa? Kalau itu lebih tahu Pak Gogot lebih banyak tahu dan gabung scholarship Korea to Indonesia. Jadi tahun depan Korea mau gabung ke Korea mau usulkan membesarkan government scholarship to ASEAN, including Indonesia. So makin lama makin banyak Korean scholarship to Indonesia. Dan banyak universitas di Korea mau menerima mahasiswa Indonesia di Korea karena jumlah penduduk population di Korea dikurangi bertahun-tahun. Jadi di universitas susah penuhi itu mahasiswanya penduduk Korea sendiri. Jadi membuka dan banyak idea scholarship muncul di universitas saya maupun universitas yang lain gitu. Tapi saya usul graduate student exchange. Saya Presiden KASIAS, Korean Association of South Asian Studies. Tahun depan mau launching graduate student exchange. Graduate student exchange is bukan apa ya, bukan hanya social science dan itu humanity, semua bidang, dan mau memberi dana fieldwork for the thesis or dissertation. So kalau ada mahasiswa S2 atau S3 yang tertarik Korea atau studi banding Indonesia dan Korea, harus melakukan fieldwork di Korea. Kalau lewat fieldwork di Korea, bisa belajar bahasa dan bisa membesarkan jaringannya dan bisa mencium suasana Korea. Jadi tingkat kualitas tesis dan dissertation lebih tinggi daripada tidak melakukan fieldwork. Jadi KASIAS mau launching fieldwork grant to the ASEAN student to fieldwork to Korea, dan Korean student fieldwork to Indonesia and ASEAN. So I want to run this fieldwork grant of KASIAS program, cooperation with ASEAN Korea Cooperation Fund. Yeah. So hopefully next year proposal saya sukses. Kalau sukses, saya kontak Unisma.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Professor. So while waiting for the real one, maybe we can participate in the virtual one to experience South Korea. Sambil menunggu yang nyata, Bapak Ibu, participants, sambil menunggu bisa datang langsung ke Korea, kita bisa berpartisipasi di program yang semoga bisa sukses ya Prof, diluncurkan oleh Profesor Jisung John untuk secara virtual belajar di Korea Selatan. Oke, kami tunggu kabar baiknya, Profesor. Oke, any other questions from the participants to Professor Jisung John? Pak Zulfikri, yes. Wait a minute for the microphone. We have one question from one of our faculty members here, Professor. Please introduce yourself first, Bapak.
Hello, good morning, Professor Jong. I am Zulfikri. I'm a lecturer at Unisma, teaching in the Faculty of Education, Teachers Education and Training programs. I have a question concerning the current issue or the problem in Middle East right now. Yeah, especially serious conflict between Palestine and Israel. So the countries around the world try to stop the crisis, I mean the peace crisis in the country. Yeah, however, still hard to do so. Yeah, so my question is, because Indonesia and Korea have strong diplomacy partnerships, how do these two countries participate in creating the world peace, especially in the Middle East right now, especially to solve the conflict between Palestine and Israel? Yeah, what do you think? I mean, what is your perspective and probably the best solution for this issue? I think it's a very hot issue currently, I think. Thanks a lot, Professor Jones.
Thank you, Pak Zulfikri. So about the heated Middle East issue, Prof. John.
Oh ya, banyak pertanyaannya. Jadi saya kurang lancar bahasa Indonesia sama bahasa Inggris, tapi banyak pertanyaan, jadi susah ya. Apalagi itu Middle East crisis, very serious issue. Tapi susah bicara kooperasi tentang hal itu kalau Indonesia dan Korea. Karena apa ya, saya malu, Korean government itu jarang bicara tentang isu Middle East, apalagi Israel sama Palestina. Jadi saya bisa bilang Korea kalau government level harus belajar dari Indonesian diplomasi. Indonesia sudah mengeluarkan statement dan kekhawatiran tentang nasib Palestina, tapi di Korean government belum mengeluarkan kekhawatiran atau dukungan Palestina. Hanya cara menengah atau agak diam-diam, jangan sampai terjadi pembunuhan massal dan peace talk. Jadi Korean government engagement levelnya sangat rendah. Dan lebih maju Indonesia. Jadi Indonesia sudah setelah baru terjadi perang, Indonesia government memberikan statement jangan sampai terjadi perang dan harus ada peace talk, and then harus cari solusi dengan musyawarah. Saya kira Indonesia lebih maju dan Korea harus belajar dari Indonesian government engagement and action. Tapi in the people side, in the civil society, banyak dukungan ceasefire, ending war, dan merasa kasihan nasib orang Palestina. Jadi di civil society level, Indonesia people and Korean people can cooperate, people to people contact. Saya kira gitu.
Thank you for the answer, Prof. John. So still in the society's level, civil level, yeah, Prof. John, that we have similar view on how to see the crisis in Middle East. Okay, do we still have any other questions to our speaker, to our first speaker, Professor Ji Song John from Jeonbuk National University, Korea? Okay, thank you very much, Professor, for this wonderful discussion with you. I hope we can visit you soon, maybe, to South Korea, to your university, and have another discussion on, especially on academic exchange and democratic solidarity between Indonesia and South Korea. Thank you very much once again for the questions also for dear participants. We will continue to our next speaker. Once again, thank you Professor Jae-sung John from Jeonbuk National University, South Korea. Give applause for him please. Participants and audience here.
Terima kasih banyak.
Terima kasih Prof. Kami juga tunggu kedatangan Prof. Mungkin semoga di Unisma. Yes. Good morning, selamat pagi Prof. We move to our next keynote speaker. So our second keynote speaker is also an expert in administrative science and policy study. So she is a senior lecturer and currently she serves as the Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science and Policy Studies of University ya kalau bahasa Melayu, University Teknologi Mara, Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Associate Professor Dr. Nur Hafizah Hajah Muhammad Hadir.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator.
Yes, Professor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Selamat pagi. First of all, I would like to say thank you very much for inviting me to attend the third International Conference on Multidisciplinary Science for Humanity 2023 organized by Unisma. And this is my second time joining your conference, and I had, I think, a good experience for the second conference. All right. What actually I want to present today, I think my sharing on the topic on addressing Sustainable Development Goal, SDG number 1, no poverty, Malaysia experience. Right. Okay. And I would like to present, the 4 part of my presentation. Right, I'm given 30 minutes. Right. The first one, just to give an overview of poverty trend in Malaysia. And secondly, I would stress on what the achievements of the SDG 1, there is the SDG 1 policy, no poverty, no one is left behind. And number 3, I will look into the issues and challenges. And last, look into a way forward, 2023 to 2025. Right. All right. To start with, what I will highlight about SDG Goal 1 in Malaysia. I think in September 2015, while addressing the United Nations Sustainable Development Summit, the Prime Minister that day was our PM Najib, as Malaysia Prime Minister, show his commitment to support and implement 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17th Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG. And SDG has been at the heart of Malaysian development approach since 1970s, with emphasis on eradicating poverty, improving the well-being of the people, as well as providing universal access to education and caring for the environment. As what actually the SDG 1 for Malaysia states at the moment, as we know, the aim of SDG 1 is no poverty, means is to eradicate all form of poverty everywhere. Where poverty eradication has been emphasized in Malaysia socio-economic development, and these strategies has been embedded in all policy development since the new economic policy was introduced in 1970 during the second Prime Ministers for 20 years. That is the range for 1971 to 1990. So currently, the 12 Malaysian Plan that was planned for 2021 to 2025 continues to focus on addressing poverty and strengthening inclusivity in line with the principle of leaving no one behind. So Malaysia had made progress in eliminating extreme poverty, lowering absolute poverty especially, in fact, before the COVID-19. But what we see now, where before the COVID-19, majority of the states were reported to have a good track record of minimizing the impact of disasters, especially in Wilayah Suan Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and also states like Pahang, Perlis, and these are better performing states, territories for the group. However, despite of this progress, Malaysia has made a certain SDG indicators at goal level, where states has different challenge to attain the SDG. So what we see, some of the indicators that concern of Malaysia is general relative poverty, not absolute poverty, and also the gap between urban and rural relative poverty. And states like Sabah, Sarawak, Kelantan, Selangor have seen a major challenge for this SDG number 1. All right, if you look at this map of Malaysia, right, we have west on the left, right, is the west coast, and the right is the east coast of Malaysia, right. What we see, the red color, these are the area of states in Malaysia that suffer from major challenges, right, of poverty. And then on the orange color, we see it's still a significant challenges remain, as well as the yellow one, you can see that shows challenges still remain. So this is the latest statistics shows by SDG Formulation States 2022. Right. What actually to highlight here, what is the situation of poverty in Malaysia following the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic? We know even though Malaysia has made remarkable progress previously in eradicating extreme poverty, yes, but the wave of COVID-19 had badly affected and transformed the business model and socio-economic landscape in Malaysia. And this has disturbed Malaysian achievement of SDG 1.1, that is goal of eliminating extreme poverty, particularly sub-target 1.1.1, the proportion of population below the international poverty line. According to the recent report published by Department of Statistics in Malaysia, 2020, the number of poor households increased to 659.8 thousand households in 2020 as compared to 405.4 thousand households in 2019. So this statistic shows that majority of people or households across the states of Malaysia experienced a decline in income, whereby 12.8% of households from higher T20, if you look at note T20 is household income groups or family that is more than RM 11,000 and above, right? And as compared over 500,000, around 20% of middle income groups, which has slipped into the bottom 40% or B40. So we can see there will be, I think, going down. I think the number of, I think the level of income, of the high income to shift to a middle income, and the middle income shift to lower income, or we call it B40 group. The bottom 40%, the M40 refers to middle 40% and top 20%. So what we see here, the percentage decrease in income, where B40 household was the largest group affected compared to top 20, right, household, and also the middle 40% groups. All right. So the situation again may set off many B40 group into this extreme poverty, where the change of poverty line from US dollar 1.25 cents to $1 to 90 cents will make the situation worse. So what we see in Malaysia now, the price of essential of the cost of living are rising, yet the minimum wage in Malaysia is set at RM 1,200, which is still far behind the national poverty, right, of 2,280. This is prior, I think, 2019 or COVID-19. So what happened, I think, due to the fact that our employees provision fund, right, around 6.5 million employee contributors, which have saving less than 10,000, with 3.6 million of them have less than 1,000 of their saving, according to the Ministry of Finance Malaysia. And you see, even the government policies and programs, such as we have Shared Prosperity Vision 2020 and the 12th Malaysian Plan, RMK 12, economic stimulus and aid packages, including aid from Zakat Center, corporate entities and NGOs, benefiting from more than 20 million Malaysian and 2.44 million have greatly contributed helping Malaysia to manage SDG 1.1, that is to target eradicate extreme poverty. All right, what we see a time series here, 19 of poverty incidents or poverty line income and incident of absolute poverty from the year 1970 to 2022. I think Malaysia has employed two methodology. Previously, we employed methodology 2015 that just based on income. However, in 2015, the EPU has introduced a new methodology of 2019 that based on multidimensional index measure. So what we see here, from 1970, I think the figure shows we have 49.3%, I think, incidence of absolute poverty, which have dropped down tremendously until 2016. So we see the green line from 1977 right to 2016. The average PLI has increased right from 290.50 to 980 in Malaysian ringgit, and then how it from 2016 onwards, and this is the impact of COVID-19. You will see it's going up, right? And then we can see at the top is 2020 with 8.4%. All right, increased number of incidents of absolute poverty, and it going down again. Latest last year, 2022, due to recovery of economy right after the post-COVID-19, I think the economy's stimulus and so on package has helped to reduce the incidence of absolute poverty go down to 6.2%. Right. These also figures that show poverty line income by states in Malaysia. We have I think about 14 states from 2019 and 2022. So on my left, the poverty line in income, I think for 2019. So when you see, if you look at Malaysia, both Malaysia, we see the total PLI is 2,800, around 440 US dollar, right, in 2019. So this is in Malaysia ringgit. Whereas on my right, PLI 2022, it has again going up, right, 2,589 AM is equivalent around 500 US dollar USD. So I think if you look at by every states in Malaysia, it doesn't show going down. Instead, it shows is is going up mostly, and this is something that happening now, when we measure PLI based on food PLI, okay, the price of food item and also the non-food item, right? Then we calculate the total PLI. So this is basically, I think, the measure of income as a line of poverty that we use in the country. Okay, what we'll see here to share that Malaysia has embarked on which 12 nation plan 2021 to 2025, right after the COVID-19, and how important for the country to build a resilient and sustainable society in addressing the SDG goals. So we see that with the RMK or 12 nation plans as a medium with a planned objective to achieve a prosperous, inclusive, sustainable Malaysia, where during the period of 2021-2022, Malaysia registered commendable socio-economic development despite several global and domestic challenges. So what we see here, the effort has been done when the review of 12, recent review of 12 nation plan that was done in last September 2021-2022, and to see what will be the performance or achievement of SDG number 1, like this, that is to eradicate poverty from multidimensional perspective, because we use the measures in 2019. We use multidimensional perspective, which does not only include income measurement, but as well as other non-income such as education, health, right, and so on. So included inequality of cost of living, and also mainly I think this effort was to promote equitable economic participation. So this is, what we see here, which the effort to aim the standard of living of the poor, as I said, the group of B40, M40, right, which Bumi Putras, Malay and the Malays mainly, and Borneo's indigenous Sabah Sarawak, orang asli, the indigenous, orang asli, and specific targets in building an inclusive society. However, the adverse effect from COVID-19 including geopolitical conflict, the Russian war, Ukraine war, Russia, and now I think we see and the challenge of climate change. That's one of the challenge that hindered the progress of achieving inclusive and sustainable development. So what we see here, some progress, I think, that to show you where in the midterm review of 12 Malaysian Plan, when it was reviewed last, it was tabled in the Parliament last September. That shows performance of selected targets in addressing poverty. There were 18 targets, however, only 15 were on track, whereas the 3 were lagging behind, right, during this review period. So we can see very, I think, clear here in terms of addressing poverty and narrowing inequality. Gini coefficients for 2020 is 0.4, right? So there's inequality still as targeting for reduce down to 0.3, right? So this is a very clear show inequalities measure. An incident of absolute poverty from 6.2% that was recorded last year, 2022, and targeting to reduce to 4.2 back again before the COVID-19, right? So we see other things, right? Multidimensional index, incident of hardcore poverties, and so on, all right? And also the main target of having equitable outcome for women to trust. We see very clearly here some of these monthly, for instance, you see participation of women in skill occupations, right, category. It's 11 o'clock. 0%, right, how the target is aiming to achieve to increase the number to 65%. So I think you can see overall here the number of trust corporate equities, right? In 2020 it was 18.5 for the targets for 25 is 30% of the corporate equity ownership effective control. So these are some of these 18 measures that where the government measures monitor the progress of the equitable outcome for the trust. Okay, as summary share, I want to share you the highlight of how the achievement of priority by area, where Malaysian government addressed poverty from multidimensional perspective and empowering B40 through the strategy of increasing income of low-income household by uplifting and diversifying sources of income. So we can see these are the programs conducted by the government, which intends to increase income of poor household. Right, so we have entrepreneur programs. We have, I think, program peningkatan pendapatan. I think how many all participants that involve entrepreneurships, right? And then khusus kesawanan digital entrepreneurs, right? And then all this, okay, micro entrepreneurs, and then cash assistance. I think that were distributed widely during the COVID-19 to help producing more entrepreneurs. With a total of 1.65 billion in the financing program. So as well as promoting whole nation approach in addressing poverty, we have poverty eradication program, right? How many recipients of the program, and then I think more courses are committed by the ministries involved, ensuring I think these poor people join this program. All right, and we have improving provision of quality education and skill training on scholarship, federal scholarship given, right, in I think higher tertiary education students, also as for I think low level or primary school or secondary level. So we have B40, the low income benefited under the program Bantuan untuk Pendidikan. We have you know, if we go to Malaysia, we have Maktab Indah Sain Mara, very popular visiting MRSM school, secondary school for where B40's household given the priority to enter the school, and the bright one, so they would I think educate them, you know, and then get you know be a good academic performance to help their change of their last I think mobility. So these are most of it. Improving healthcare. I think we know that how Malaysian government and I think have a lot of programs promoting health services to I think especially lower level of income, okay, and especially a hit of hardcore and they're given scheme insurance kesihatan rakyat and so on, scheme peduli kesihatan. I think they are given medical care assistance, B40 as I told you, and many thousand participants in there. Uplifting standard of living, all right, living conditions. I think where housing is very crucial in Malaysia now. Affordable housing is policy issues. How government will tackle this, right? We have a lot of project perumahan rakyat or PPR, household housing or public housing would help. I think most of mainly a poor community to settle down. So we have I think project perumahan rakyat to miskin, in fact in rural area as well as in urban area as well. So I think there's more here when we look at service delivery mechanism, okay, how poverty units at the federal, state and local level were established. So we have one centralized database by EPU, Economic Planning Units of Prime Minister's Departments, who have data, current data perlindungan sosial, that one centralized data that helps government enhance service delivery to the needy one, especially to identify who are really poor, who will be the beneficiaries of these programs, and improving measurement of poverty as well as policy implementation. I think we are concerned about how Malaysia now adopted National Multidimensional Poverty Index in 2020, recently adopted, and how we want to measure and address poverty in 2022, where the framework was developed to review household income category was developed in 2022. So we know how we categorize B40, M40, T20 as part of the category of income where it helps to improve, I think, service delivery mechanism. Addressing cost of living, this is an issue in poverty now in the country. So I think we have that how many billion are spent to manage pressure on prices. Malaysia now is facing high, quite inflations, but it's under control. But we can see the issue of even basic needs like subsidies. We subsidize a lot of petrol and diesels, chicken and eggs, even electricity, cooking oil and so on. I'm sure that's also same goes to Indonesia. But we can see this is something government commitment to help minimize the cushions the inflation, especially prices, our consumer CPI, consumer price index. Basic needs, which I think is very critical, right, for Malaysian, I think P40 and M40 too. Okay, and strengthening social protection for all, this is something where Malaysia needs to look into our social protection policy, where I think there's need for us to come up with a new, that not only to cushion or targeted people, but to look into the way how we're going to propose a new scheme of social protection policy in addressing, I think, issue of poverty. So, in fact, we have social suri rumah that was introduced under the new government that provide some money and fund for women who are not working women. So this is initiated by the government as well. Supporting M40, as I told you, how to cushion the inflations and how that's in fact much of M40 in the countries, and how we use the tax relief, how we improve quality affordable education, how we improve, encourage health, employment protection as well, and how do we increase housing ownership. I think it's a very important facilitating, as I told you, the issue policy on housing, affordable housing is a critical issue in Malaysia, and how we make sure that we have, especially the youth, to ensure that they can own a house. First home ownership campaign. There are a lot have been done to initiative to help financing Malaysian housing, and this is something which, especially in the urban area, in the cities of Kuala Lumpur and Lembah Kelang, shortage of houses and prices going up, and how we're going to tackle the issue of the youth, as I told you, the youth and low income earner like B40s and M40s to own their first house. So this is a report card, right? I think we can see improving governance. I think agenda memperkasakan agenda Bumi Putra, and how to enhance transparency of ownership. So we have Company Acts and Limited Partnership Acts reviewed, okay, on disclosure of beneficial ownership. And strengthening education, empowering human capital, this is also important as we look at multidimensional, looking at how we need to strengthen education to help reduce poverty. So we have increasing Bumi Putra's participation in certified professional program under government support. Okay, we have Yayasan Penerja Pendidikan Bumi Putra's, where we have about here to generate more professional, certified professionals among Bumi Putra's. Okay, so qualities, improving quality and skill, right? Employability, we now focus on TVET now in the country, and access to educations. As I show you, we have a lot of schools, okay, boarding school, okay, by government and Amara, providing capacity to home students, good bright students, and and to groom them, yeah, from there to for their future higher education and so on. So wealth creation, resilient business, I think this is another thing. All right, just to show you again, development of orang asli is part of the SDG goal in our policy, where we look at education of orang asli, all these indigenous, where I think government spend money on them in education at a lower level or up to even higher level TVET education. How we accelerate socio-economic development, okay, we have that strategies, okay, to increase their income of orang asli, socio-economic development, and all the basic infrastructures and leadership. So, and the last one, I think empowering specific targets in under the SDG goal, what we see, advancing children well-being is also part of the goal of nation government, right? I'm sure we look at governance for children, development for traction, and building dynamic, resilient, competitive youth or youth and development, and then also women groups promoting gender equality, part of the SDG goal. I think their participation in top level management, and as well as I think developing women entrepreneurs, especially financing under Amanah Ikhtiar, Tekun and Mara. So we have that legal protection against women, right? Anti-sexual harassment, and as well as literacy, undang-undang. Right? So increasing well-being of aged population, elderly, where a very vulnerable group as well. How government helps this older group to benefit from warga emas, home health service and so on, or Fox home, as well as protecting social protection of the warga emas, elderly, which I think how the cash assistance and benefit are given, okay, from the program in this country. So PWDs or person with disabilities, I think also part of this SDG goals, and then cash assistance given, penjagaan, okay, healthcare for disabled PWDs also given priorities, and strengthening family institution. So we see benefit of that, how we provide support from family, right, to benefit from education, as well as psychological aspect, as well as some health support, medical care, and as well as Maternity Leave and Employment Amendment Act 2022. Okay, some of this last part, when we talk about this achievement, and we have to look at this, what are the challenges that we need to bear on ensuring sustainable development goal will be achieved. So these are the list of some of the issues addressed by the government when we look at persistence of poverty. Yes, multidimensional poverty is not just about income, but we have to address issue health, education, right, and so on and so forth, cost of living. So this is very important, where I think nation so much are given high dependence on cash transfer, and that's something a challenge of lack of sustainable and poverty eradication program. So because sometimes the cash transfer is only targeted subsidies, but not a system where to some extent it will not be sustainable in the long term. Vulnerability of B40, as I mentioned, all the weak and vulnerable group like the elderly, the children and the women, okay, orang asli and so on. I think this is also a challenge for the government to look at this lack of their protection, income protection of this group, lack of employment opportunities for this group, limited access to affordable housing, and then high cost of living also affect this vulnerable group. And then we have challenges faced by B40 group, and of course the B40 slow income growth, okay, due to high cost of living, and then a constraint for upward social mobility is also a challenge for B40, as well as lack of access to affordable housing when the house is getting expensive nowadays. So also issue of multifaceted inequality. I think we look about disparity between household income group, okay, as still exists, inequality opportunities in terms of intergenerational mobility also persists, as well low financial literacy, okay, and incomprehensive social protection policy. So we have also that inequitable Bumiputera social outcome. I think that goes to basically declining saving among Bumiputras. Okay, as I told just now, most of their employee fund has withdrawn due to COVID-19. Lack competitiveness among entrepreneurs, lack of capacity building to scale up business, slow growth of equity ownership and so on. So lagging socio-economic development of orang asli, we're talking about how the policy on socio-economic development of orang asli also need dire attention. I think this is how government to some extent has to work on to reduce their poverty incidence of orang asli community due to their low educations and skill level and lack of socio-economic opportunities of this indigenous group. And social deprivation of specific target, I think this is I think also happening, okay, and then how actually the target to intervene in child development protection, right, youth development, as well as elderly and so on, family related issues, and ineffective delivery system. So I think this is where the government plays important role. Public service delivery also a challenge, because we need to have a good data to address issue poverty, and previously the data, we call it ICASE, was not very I think beneficial in expedite delivery of ecosystem. So what we need now basically how we're going to address beneficiaries effectively. So how to help them in times of dire needs. So I think this is based on income classification, and sometimes people still manipulate the income, right? And we need to have a mechanism how to tackle this monitoring mechanism. How someone who has graduated from poverty will not be entitled to more assistance. So we still lack on that. Okay, and the way forward of those, I think about addressing addressing and preventing poverty is keep on. I think the policy since Merdeka in Malaysia, empowering vulnerable household. As I told you, how we need to empower the marginalized, facilitating M40, the middle class group, the top bottom middle income of 40%, because these are also much affected, especially right after this COVID-19. B40, yes, of course, but it's affecting, right? People fall because our income, how we measure income doesn't look into the household size. Narrowing inequalities, because as we look at the quality is still there, and how we're going to narrow down the quality, and how we're going to achieve equitable outcome for women Putras, and empowering specific target group, empower them, okay, and then development of orang asli and strengthening social, economic policy and service delivery. So in conclusion, yes, we have to move forward with a different challenge. All right, what has been done, we have achieved, but when we had COVID-19, I think all the policy need to be reviewed, all right, aligned, and we have a new problem, right, where absolute poverty also before this have been, I think, solved, and yet we still come back again, right, and then how we're going to look at the strategies to ensure we can build an inclusive and resilient society, focus on addressing poverty and equality from multidimensional perspective, raising income, improving well-being of the poor, vulnerable as well, and M40 and on specific target of group, where I think believe that policy and service delivery will be strengthened. That's very important, where implementation of this measure uphold the inclusive principle of leaving no one behind, in line with the current economy Madani under PM Anwar, that is memperkasakan rakyat, and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 2030. So with that, I thank you very much for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Prof. Noor for sharing with us Malaysia's experience in reducing poverty rate, especially after COVID-19. Now we come to the question and answer session with Prof. Noor. Similar to previous one, if you have any question, you can click the raise hand icon in your Zoom, or if one of the audiences here who come offline have a question, then you can raise your hand, or you can also type your question in the chat box. I think we have one question from the Dean of Faculty of Administrative Science of Unisma, Prof. Noor, Ibu Rini Rahayu.
Yeah, Ibu Rini, yeah. Just got back from my faculty. I got met to meet her.
Just several days ago, yeah, Prof. Noor.
Yeah, just got back.
They came back from your university. Yes, Bu Rini, you can give your question to Prof. Noor.
Okay, thank you, Bu Noni. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Noor
Hafizah. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you. Interesting the presentation from Prof. Noor Hafizah about sustainable development goals. And then I read in the first PPT, the aim of the SDG, no poverty, is to eradicate all forms of poverty everywhere. And then I want to ask, what the program are used to eradicate poverty in the Malaysia and related to funding jobs? Okay. What the program are used to eradicate poverty in Malaysia?
What are the program to eradicate poverty in Malaysia?
And then, and then I want to know in relation to find jobs.
In relation to find jobs.
So strategies for the people there, or for the government to provide jobs for the Malaysian citizens.
Thank you, Prof. Noor.
Thank you.
Last time, last week, we visit to FSPPP with my team, and then I met Dr. Zarina. Prof. Noor have another agenda.
Okay. Very sorry, I very busy that last week I didn't to meet, not managed to meet you. All right, inshallah we can meet again. I think we met last time, right, in April sometime.
Thank
all right,
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dean, for the questions. I think when we have a lot of programs, what I have discussed here in eradicating poverty, I think we have cut across ministry in Malaysia. We have a lot of programs, for instance, in to eradicate, to increase social or income of low income poor, right? For example, ministries of entrepreneur in the country. We have programs of developing entrepreneurships for the low income community, as I think I have showed you this now. I think where they try to build entrepreneurship skill by giving them training, right? We have a program like program Azam Kasih. One of the programs is program Azam Kasih, but the program helps to produce mostly entrepreneur, giving subsidies or even capital. We have Amanah Ikhtiar, for example, capital for them to start a business. So I think government do give them, all right, this is where how to increase, as I showed you just now, one of the improving socio-economic capacity building of the people is through giving them this training skill in entrepreneurships, providing them a lot of money, capital to start a small business. And that is among, I think, program Azam Kasih that has been, I think, built by the government to help this low-income people to earn, I think, more income. So that's part of it. Other than that, housing as well. In housing, Ministry of Housing in the country, we do have a PPRT program, Project Perumahan Rakyat Termiskin. especially in urban area where the price of home is very expensive. And this is form of low-cost housing or public housing given to especially B40 or the poor people to own or rent a house at a very minimal, I think, cost. Even they pay about 120, about 100, not more than 150 a month under local government. So this is another initiative helping the low income. And other than that, cash assistance also. I've given cash assistance during, we are given cash assistance to low income, subsidizing, I think, their children's school, right? and as well as in school, right? This is, I think, has been there for so long. So I think there are many more. As I told just now, multidimensional of poverty is not just about increasing income, but providing them equality in education. That's why we develop school for the bright students of the low poor income. They're given priority. For example, in MRSM just now, Mata Rendah Saimara, 70% of the intake of the school for the bright students are from the B40 group. Right. We also have one school under Ministry of Education Malaysia, SBP. We call it SBP. Also intake for the bright students, secondary, that going for secondary school. So those who did well in their, I think, exam, I think they are primary exam school. They were entitled, given the opportunities as a B40 group, low income family, children's, to have a place in that school. So these are, I think, when you see not only in terms of economic support, I think financial support are given, I think, in form of intangible, not only in terms of raising income, right? Health and so on and so forth. I think many assistance, medical assistance and support also are given to the poor, low-income community in the country. So I hope I have answered you that question. When the second question relations to find job, of course, this is also under Ministry of Education in the country, joint collaboration with Ministry of Human Resource in Malaysia. I think, and especially higher education in Malaysia, we know that job is very scarce nowadays. That's one of the contributors to vulnerable group, the youth. We calculate the SDG as one measure, Malaysian youth participation. We see that their participation in employment is very important. So we had the program increased number of the youth who just graduated from universities, but they hardly got jobs. So I think this is a commitment by the government, how provide them the avenue and platform for most private sectors or even government sectors to hire them. But the issue now, there's a mismatch between jobs and the skills. So this is another issue facing Ministry of Higher Education. When we see the industrial needs sometimes had mismatch, some not all, mismatch with the curriculum. So what we do at Ministry of Higher Education, we ensure that curriculum done must be aligned with the industrial needs, because these are the issue. Our skill does not match with the knowledge of our students. So I think we see that now TVET, that's why I told you in our program, TVET education, right? Technical and vocational education has become one of the priority in our Malaysian higher education blueprint or policy, because we want to make sure what the markets want now is high skilled TVETs. So most of the curriculum now even in University Technology Mara, my universities, we have to focus more on TVET education. I'm not saying that all can be TVET, but we have engineering school, we have architecture school, right? So even we have hotel and management school, tourism, management tourism school, and business school, accounting school. So we have that in our universities, my university especially, and how we try to align the needs of TVET educations, which is more on practical skill and skill-based kind of curriculum to ensure the youth, once they are ready for the job markets. So this will be a challenge, but I think that is done by Ministry of Education as well as other ministry as well. Ministry of Youth also play important role, right? To look and collaborate with agencies or ministries, other ministries to ensure our youth issues, especially with regards to employment, can be solved or minimized as what, especially now after the post-COVID-19. But to share with you now, the employment rate in Malaysia now is also getting better. As compared to 2020, if people just finished the university, they don't get a job. But now, as the economy recover, I'm sure in Indonesia too, right? The economy recover, and then more job opportunities are there, and we can see up like my faculty. We did a survey, stress studies survey. Mostly our graduate employability touch 90%. My faculty, right? We have 10 programs, but most of the programs touch 80% and above. That means upon 6 months of our students' graduation, they get the job. I hope I have answered your question. Thank you, Dean BN.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Prof.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have one questions already from Ibu Rini Rahayu.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions from the audience, Pak Zul? Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Prof. Nur.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof.
Yeah, following your presentation is very interesting, especially for the issue of eradicating or alleviating poverty. It is a big issue in almost countries in the world. In Indonesia right now, especially before the election of president, when the president used tagline sometimes, alleviating poverty by in my reign or in my government, for example, and so on. I have a question concerning NGO or non-government organization. You have already mentioned somewhere in your articles, in your presentation, the role of NGO. NGO is apart from the government institutions that try to serve for the community. And my question is, how do the NGOs try to alleviate the poverty? Is it through what we call a ComDev or community development or kind of community empowerment and so on? How does it look like? How do they work in alleviating the poverty in your country? Maybe it can be best practice in our country right now because we have many NGOs right now in Indonesia. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I think a very good question, Pak Zul. I know it's very important in government. Not only government needs helps to eradicate poverty. Of course, it's not only one man show when the government play a leading role, but government needs to work hand in hand with private sectors as well, right? We have CSR even, right? Company, I think social responsibility by corporates that helps together, right? And then NGO, yes, of course, NGO play a very critical role in as one of the stakeholders in policy making, not only in Malaysia, I think also in Indonesia, isn't it? I think the role, of course, one of the role that I see is pressuring the government as well. I think our Malaysian NGO are very critical in lobbying the government as a non-actors in policy making, and I see that they are some of them are very critical and very responsible to give input for the government. And most of the decision making or town hall between government and NGO, I think these people they participate in all decision making by the government because this is part of the government the collaboration with all NGO, and their role are very their presence in decision making are very critical and they are not being neglected. So this is something where I see NGO not only give ideas but together with the government, collaborate with the government to help, especially addressing issue. I think the poverty I think the last, what we had during the COVID-19, we had a slow action by the government. Okay, we had people who don't eat, a day. We had people who struggle because of death of their spouse due to COVID. But who approached first is sometimes in some area it's not government, but it's the NGO. I think this is something we can see, the commitment of NGO that even they are not fully funded, their own funding, how they help and approach, because they are very near to I think the people, right? I think due to that proximity and very close and at the local level, right? That's why I can see their role as very crucial. Okay, this is something that not only giving crowdfunding. I think now they go for crowdfunding and helping most. I think we also, right, most influential yayasan, yeah, for example, yayasan, and we have some influential pendakwah, for example, right, who are celebrities in Malaysia also. They open up philanthropy, charities, which they contribute a lot to community, because I know even Malaysia government still have budget constraint, isn't it, in helping providing a lot of assistance. But again, capacity building, yes, I agree with you, where I think we have NGO who we believe in Malaysian policy. We cannot we don't fit. I mean, we don't just provide cash. I think during Tun Mahathir period, he doesn't want Malaysians to be all sponsored and fit by, but he says give them, something to live in, the knowledge, the skill, competencies. And some of the NGO also helps, I think, capacity building, right? I think there are a lot of projects, urban farming, for instance, urban area, right? How they helps transfer of knowledge are done to this NGO, to the community, how they, equip them with the skill, entrepreneurships, financial literacy, all come down. That's part of capacity building project, and they graduate from poverty, right, through this assistance of NGO. So yes, I agree. We believe we have to work together, right? NGO, government, or private sectors, all right? Individuals have to come forwards to help, achieve our poverty, zero poverty, which is a bit impossible, but we see this collaboration will make a big impact. No doubt they will have a big impact to community development. Thank you.
Okay, that's the answer, Pak Zul.
That I answer your
one more question, Prof. Noor, from Pak Zul.
Yeah, sure.
I'm really curious. I want to satisfy my curiosity when you start with a nice slide of things, with the kind of jargon of tagline, no one left behind. Yeah, no, it reminds me that in 1960s, American presidency at the time proposed a concept called "No Child Left Behind." Probably you remember that. I think it is very political at times. It is considered to be what we call political in the process of political elevation at the times. My question is, what do you mean by no one left behind here? Is it in terms of education or economy, or what's that?
I think, thank you, Pak Zul. I think this is part of tagline of SDG goal number 1. There is no one is left behind. If you Google SDG, this is the tagline for SDG goal number 1. No poverty and no one is left behind. Meaning here, that's why I said when we look at, if you try to look at my presentation just now, addressing poverty must inclusive. You have to be inclusive in nature, and no one will be left out. No one will be left out from the programs or the policies in the country. Even the SDG itself promotes eradicating poverty, and no one is left behind. And in every angle, in every our policy development, right, we make sure that all this, especially I mentioned in my presentation, the vulnerable group, right, specific targeted group, or disabled group, for instance. I think they are part of they are normally left behind sometimes in our mainstream policy, and how we're going to get them and make sure everybody are inclusive, right? That's why how to ensure equality is there. We're talking about unequal distribution of income, and how we make sure our policy to address this, the vulnerable group, right, and specific targeted group, even orang asli, I mentioned in my presentation, where orang asli, sometimes is marginalized in our policy development, so policy planning. So now, if we go back to SDG, I think target poverty, no poverty. So we see if we guided by the framework, SDG framework, that means we make sure that every country must try, within the framework, and to include how to include everyone in our policy making in achieving SDG Agenda 2030. So we know this is challenge, as I told you just now, about the challenge faced by the country to address issue of vulnerable community, elderly, especially now, is a policy problem even in Malaysia now, because how are we going to be to prepare our community who live longer, because our life expectancy will be longer and they're going to be marginalized if we do not do anything now in our policy to address the problem of elderly, as well as specific group just now, okay, marginalized, the B40 in Malaysia, that really one of the marginalized group, how we want to tackle that, the woman. So that's the spirit of SDG that we need to embrace, and then how we're going to make sure the programs, initiative developed from the policy planning in our countries will look into all 360, I would say 360 view, so that no one is left behind. So that is my take on that. Did I answer your question, Bapak Razul?
Yes, he's satisfied with your answer.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Thank you for your question. Yeah.
Okay. Because of the limitations of the time, and we need to prepare for our first parallel sessions, I think we need to end our session with Prof. Noor today. Thank you once again, Prof. Noor, for sharing Malaysia's experience in reducing the poverty rate in Malaysia. Hopefully we can learn some things from your explanation, so that we can also do our best. Indonesia can do our best in reducing poverty rate. Once again, thank you, Prof. Noor. Please give applause to Prof. Noor, everyone.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Prof. Noor. For our two speakers, unfortunately, because of the sudden change of schedule, then we cannot have Dr. Datbau or Datbau PhD from Monash University, as well as our rector, Prof. Masguri. Because of the sudden change of schedule, that we can only have two speakers for the first plenary session. Thank you very much for Prof. Noor, and also for our first speaker, Professor Jae Song John from Jeonbuk National University, South Korea, who have shared their wonderful insights with us. Hopefully we can meet again in other conferences. Let me remind you all, for the presenters and participants, we will start the first parallel session right after this. So please each of you join to your designated breakout rooms. Our committee will guide you to join the breakout rooms. Once again, to Professor Jae Song John from Jeonbuk National University, South Korea, and for Prof. Noor from University Technology Mara, Malaysia. Once again, thank you very much. And to the presenters and participants, have a good and enjoyable conference. Goodbye, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Candidate Ibu Noni Mia, who have guided the keynote speech session. So as we have finished this session, we'll move on to the parallel session. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, especially for the presenters and also participants of ICOMSH 2023, that our team, our committee will open for a breakout room. Right after this, we will have 3 breakout rooms. So the breakout rooms will be breakout room A1, A2, and A3. So based on the rundown or the list of presenters, you may join the breakout room based on your schedule. For breakout room A1, the moderator will be Ibu Noni Mia Rahmawati, and the presenters are Ibu Rini Rahayu, Ibu Siti Saroh, Bapak Dadang Kristianto, Bapak Afifuddin, Bapak Rio, and Bapak Wen Kuan. Please kindly join breakout room A1. And then for breakout room A2, we have around 5 presentation. The first is Bapak Junaidi Misar and Pak Alvan. And then Pak Nur Fajar Arif, Pak Muhammad Yunus, Pak Miliana, Ibu Kurniasi, and Bu Sikai Jin. Please kindly join, or the operator may help them to assign into room A2. And we have also room 3. Pak Faruk, Ibu Lulu, Ibu Fitri Merawati, Ibu Lestari, Ibu